call the Village of Lake Park public hearing on our budget for June 11th, 2024. So order. I'd ask Councilman Steve Tudor to offer the invocation.
Will you bow your head as we pray? Dear loving Heavenly Father, thank you for the many blessings you have provided in our lives. Thank you for allowing us to live in this wonderful place called Lake Park. Thank you for our mayor, council, staff, and neighbors. Thank you for all those that protect us locally and abroad. We ask you to bless and protect them. Father, many of our neighbors are going through life struggles. Some of these are known while others may not be. We pray you provide them peace and love as they navigate these difficult times. I pray all minds and hearts are open to hear the information provided tonight. Our actions, thoughts, and comments are graceful and a true reflection of our relationship with you. Help us carefully consider the information that has and will be provided to wisely evaluate our options. Consider the pros and cons for the village. You have placed each of us in these seats at this time for your purpose. Use us to carry out your plan. Lastly, we pray for our decisions to be pleasing and honoring to you, and your will be done in this meeting. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll just announce that our attorney is ill tonight and not able to be here, just so everybody is aware. And Councilman Scaldera's daughter is graduating at 8 o'clock tonight, so he had a pretty good excuse to miss tonight. We'll run through the public hearing real quick. The presentation of our proposed FY25 budget. Our current fiscal year budget is $1,565,766. That was at the original adoption of that budget, with a current tax rate of 0.2025 per $100 evaluation. Some notable changes coming in FY25 are our sheriff's contract increasing $23,736. Waste collection proposed to increase $118,399. Landscape contract increase of $48.80. Pool contract increase of $2,600, and tax collection going to the third party, the county, is an additional $10,000. Those notable changes alone were increases of $159,615, and 1 cent of tax will raise $38,970 in the village. You do that quick math, 159,615 divided by 38,960, and is a potential 4 cent tax increase that council was possibly facing. Our budget process, the council and staff derive the proposed expenses, staff derives proposed income, council and staff then together create proposed budget. We held a workshop on May 2nd that lasted for in excess of 4 hours. The FY25 proposed budget is $1,682,406, which is an increase over last year's initial adopted budget, or current year we're in, of $116,640. Revenue generated, as you can see, property tax totals $829,208, stormwater fees $89,360, state shared revenues of $496,413, park and rec revenues of $93,500, PAL bill revenue of $115,000, and then appropriated for fund balance $22,725. There are other revenues in there such as fees and there's other little caveat of other things that come in that total $36,200. Gets your total revenue of $1,682,406. Expenses, the general government expenses will total $321,651. Governmental services $61,817. Parks and recreation $475,900. PAL bill expenses, which are the roads, $115,000. Public service and safety $708,038. For total expenses of $1,682,406. State law says the budget must be balanced, and it is. In a summary, the total revenue $1,682,406, with expenses proposed of $1,682,406, with the proposed tax rate for FY 25 of 0.2125 per $100 evaluation, which is an increase of only 1 cent, with a proposed tax collection rate of 99.5%. And I would like to thank council and staff for working hard to ensure that the budget needs were met while acting as fiscally responsible as we can for our constituents. I think we're faced with a possible 4 cent tax increase, whittled some things down for here and there, and we're able to do it with just a 1 cent tax increase and very little money out of fund balance. So, did a great job. At this time, public comment. Any public comment on the budget? Council comments. Jim?
I just want to thank everyone for making it happen. The budget happened this year. We got a lot of changes and this happened. We all pulled through it. Thank you.
Mark?
Just looking forward to tonight's meeting. We've got some big things to decide. And we'll get on with it.
Echo that. Thank everybody for working through it. It's a lot of hard work goes into that thing. It's not just I see 4 hours on that slide, but there's a lot that goes into it before you get that 4 hours.
Right.
So I appreciate everybody's job around doing those things as well.
I'll just echo what Jim said and what Steve said, and a little bit of what Mark said.
Sheree?
No, I appreciate everything that we made it work, and appreciate Cheryl pulling together. I know it's hard for us to get our numbers in at the last minute, and we probably need to work on doing better at that, but it's hard. The smaller you are, the more difficult it is.
Sure. Yeah, I just, as I said in the slide, thank everybody for what you did before you go. Steve, you're 100% right. That meeting was plus 4 hours, but there's probably 40+ hours each person's got, and then much more from staff. So I do appreciate everybody working together. That said, is there a motion to adjourn the public hearing?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the public hearing.
Steve made a motion, Bruce second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. This time I'll call the Village of Lake Park Council meeting for June 11th, 2024 to order. Any public comment?
No.
Approval of the minutes for the May 14, 2024 regular session. Sheree sent out. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve this one.
Second.
Mark has made a motion, Jim second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I printed the May 2nd, 2024 closed session minutes that we'd already approved and brought them with me tonight, but we won't need to approve those again. So I'll print the corrections and bring next month for the May 14th closed sessions. I don't have those with us. The consent agenda you saw on your regular agenda that came out, are there any concerns or anybody want anything pulled from the consent agenda? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
Motion to approve.
Jim has made a motion.
Yeah.
Steve second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. You also have the regular agenda before you. Any requested changes or additions or deletions to the agenda?
Do we need to change it for the technology pieces since Joe's not here? We'll just leave it on there. I don't know if you got something to cover in those sections.
I added some stuff for him.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very little, but I added.
That's
it to the
fine.
slide today.
I just didn't know.
Can we move, motion to move waste collection up to public safety?
Sure. Motion to move 11A to just after 6 and before 7.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
that motion.
Jim made a motion.
I'll second it.
Steve second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
I need to make a motion
You
to,
want to make a motion to approve the
yeah,
agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Steve's made a motion.
Second.
Bruce second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Public safety, Deputy Bailey, you had a busy morning or your
Yeah.
cohorts did, I know.
My cohorts did, I came in a little bit after the fund, but yes, it was a very big morning, so. Last month in itself was a good month, not much to speak about the ordinary, everything was really good, our traffic stops were really consistent, back down to the normal level that we used to see with that. Random patrols, everything else is good, we've had a little bit more alarms, but only one alarm, one residence that had two, everything else was single, so nothing really of a concern with the alarms. As far as that's concerned, so last month's good, that this month, next month's number is obviously gonna be a little bit higher with car break-ins, than we're used to seeing. But as far as last month's goes, everything was good.
Yeah, how many total reports were taken this morning?
At least 8 or 9. So I know there's one as well at the box, it was broken outside like a chiropractor, the glass for that free library. But that, I'm sure that's slated quite 9. I mean, obviously they're all active and it just occurred, so I'm not really too sure yet. As far as car break-ins alone, there's numerous. And unfortunately, like most car break-ins, they stem from vehicle doors being left unlocked. So I thank you, Sherry, for sending out a nice email this morning, reminding everybody to please lock your car doors. And if you have to leave anything in your car, put anything out of sight that you don't want anybody to see, and remove anything that you don't have to have in your car. That will stop the vast majority of car break-ins.
So I hadn't heard, we had a bunch of break-ins.
Just this morning it happened. I think
Yeah.
everybody woke up this morning. It was unlocked cars mostly. They just
Hmm.
came through flipping,
Yeah.
mostly in the Thistle Alley area and Sages.
Right.
You mentioned the little, excuse me, the glass on the little library was
Right.
broken. You know, that was a Boy Scout project. We being council or Park and Rec, and want to look at replacing that glass so that that's not a safety risk.
The doors taken off, that was before I got here this morning, so it doesn't pose any threat to the safety of anybody currently, but, there's one thing that did occur as well.
Who took the door off, do you know?
I believe, Deputy Neves, and, I believe, not 100% sure I was involved in that,
Okay.
but I believe it was removed. And
If you can find our door so we can fix it and put it back
Okay.
on, we would
I'll
appreciate
try
that.
to find out for you.
All right, thank you.
I think Scott there built that, so.
Yeah.
Oh,
we have
well,
an in on-
okay.
We have an in on the,
The
Yeah,
building.
but-
schematic, so, yeah.
So if you can't find it, it's not the. end of
Okay,
it.
perfect.
We appreciate all the hard work, and I know I've seen a lot of traffic stops. I've seen y'all working the crosswalks up there, and, Deputy Halen texted me this morning when all that was going on. He said, you realize statistically our car break-ins just went up 8,000%, right? So don't be alarmed next month.
It happened, and unfortunately, crime's coming kind of trends, especially seasonally and whatnot, and it's summertime, school's out. I'm not saying it is children or not, but, usually summertime is where everybody across the county and across the nation sees an uptick in, crimes like this. So we'll see, and of course, we'll do our best as sheriff's office to find out who did it and deal with that accordingly.
And I'll second what Jeremy says. We see you guys out in the neighborhood a whole lot. We appreciate that. I mean, everybody just mentions it all the time. I haven't seen hardly any complaints on Facebook about you guys not being out.
One of the gentlemen who routinely texts me about just the little things, actually last week, and he lives right where those break-ins were, texted me last week, and said, hey, man, I just want to tell you thanks. Those deputies have been coming down through the garden district a lot. He said, it's just nice to see them blowing through.
Yeah.
It is noticed. for sure.
Try to be as visible as we can, and, I think that deters a lot of crime as well, so we try our best to do that.
Any other questions? Thank you, sir. Have a safe night.
Thank you.
I don't have a report from the fire department, so I actually took that slide out of there. I don't really know why, I just don't have it, so it's not there. We will go to 11A now.
All right. Waste collection. So you had in your email from Cherie a copy of the contract was negotiated with Waste Pro, and we do have 2 representative Waste Pros here tonight as well. And the town has run through legal. And so my first question to council, is there any questions to the contract? Any questions?
I don't have any additional questions that we addressed in emails before.
Okay, great. Okay. Bruce, any questions at all?
No,
All
just the only thing, when this is approved, I think we're gonna have to get some signage out there so residents know what the Sand Hill's gonna be going on.
That is, you are correct. We gotta put some stuff together. Yeah, Waste Pro has some items and some information that we can plagiarize and put together. And
Yeah.
so we can get it out to all the residents.
Yeah, signs work better than emails and
Okay, yes,
newspaper tubes,
we'll do what we can do.
couple of flags.
So I do have 2 motions tonight then. First off, I have a motion to approve the contract as it was presented to the council.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, thank you.
Jim's made a motion. Any further discussion? I would just like to say, I appreciate from our side, Sheree and Jim, and I said this in email yesterday, I don't think anybody really realizes how deep this thing got into the woods, and I appreciate you folks as well. I know there was give and take, and I know there were a lot of legalese that were, one attorney might say he agrees with and another one doesn't, so you become to a stalemate, and I think that there's a lot to be said about the history between the village and Waste Pro. And I think that there's a lot of trust, and I feel like it's on both sides, that some of the stalemate items we gave in on, and some you guys did, that we're gonna both do our best to honor that trust going forward, and I think that it'll happen. So that said, I appreciate it. There's a motion and a second, no further discussion, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, second motion I have tonight is to give Mayor Russell authority to sign the contract, make it binding on behalf of the village.
Jim has made a motion,
I'll second.
Bruce seconded, any further discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And the,
Did you want, any comments, anything you wanted to say?
We appreciate the opportunity to continue the partnership. Yes, it's been a really wonderful working relationship, and we do want to work putting together some information to be able to help the residents understand some of the changes that will be coming, and work through some of those little hiccups that may happen along the way until we're all, in a good cycle.
no,
Just echo a little bit of that. Your guys that work for you on the ground are doing an outstanding job. I mean, they're very friendly, very nice, and you don't always get that this day and time, but they're very much customer service. The ones I see
Right.
are very, very polite.
Yeah, we get a number of comments on our site. Jane,
Hopefully those are positive comments. They are, you would hear about them, sure.
They are until
Anytime
you
a
don't
resident
pick
would
up.
like to issue a compliment, we're working on a website design for you, so they'll be able to freely insert that information, as well as any other special requests.
They're great.
The part about changing out the recycled bins for carts, y'all are working on all that. Are they gonna have to request it, or what?
It'll be a process. So basically, starting now, y'all will start looking to see, let's say, a section, a whole neighborhood section, who needs a cart, how many do they need, so they can start changing those out. So it'll probably, what do you think realistically, before we get all of those changed out, how long will that be? 2 months?
Give or take. 'Cause you'll have some that won't set out this week.
Right.
Maybe next time. So, yeah, it'll take us a little bit, but
What did I say?
full
2
should
weeks or
be
2
done
months?
relatively quickly.
Did I say 2 weeks or 2 months?
it's 2 months.
Okay, I wanted to make
So
sure
we
I
have
said
to
2.
pick up recycling only every other week.
Correct, starting the 1st of July.
Yes.
But you also have people who go on vacation and,
Right,
you know, yada, yada, yada. It is summertime, so.
And I think the cart for recycling is a whole lot better. I pick up, I don't know how much recycling out of my yard.
Oh, yeah, because
So,
it
you know, the
blows.
cart, it's closed, so I think it's best we went to that.
So I just want to end this and say thank you to council for approving. Thanks for the negotiations. I know it was long. It took some time. We got into some details and things. But we got through it. And thank you for all the work, and look forward to a good long.
Spend some weekends on the phone together.
Yes, we have.
Maybe even late nights.
Yeah, and early mornings. So, but yes, thank you very much.
I do want to say that I've worked with Ms. Sheree for 3 years now. And I think you guys know what you have. And Ms. Sheree, she is absolutely awesome.
Oh, thank you.
I really appreciate you.
We do, too.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
All right,
Thank you.
feel free to stay.
I do have one quick question. How do we is Chip gonna send us a signed copy and you send us you to send us a signed copy for us to sign to send back? Or how do we?
Do you
put
have
our-
the clean version?
I do,
Okay, so just 2 copies of that, if you guys will sign it,
okay.
then I will either pick it up or, I mean, I don't know if we're doing that this evening or not, but we'll get Chip and myself to execute the other piece of it, and you'll get 1 full set back for your records.
I can give you this signed set.
Okay.
If you want to take it, I'm just trying to save you
We
trip.
just need to.
No,
Did you do 2 signature pages or the whole?
I mean, we're fine with 2 signature pages. If you guys are okay with that, we'll just put one other whole set together. There isn't anything that requires the initials to it, so that's, I mean, helps save a tree, and let's do that as well.
well, I was gonna say, I can either give you, that was my question, I can either give you this one signed and let it walk out the door, and you guys take it and just make a copy of the second one.
Can you print off another signature page? Give them 2 signature pages.
She wants
That
original
way you have 2
signatures.
inked
Yeah.
Not two.
documents, 1 original for both of us.
In that case, you would really come back, because I'm gonna have to, it's gonna take me a little bit.
Something I can do to your printer.
No.
To do some copying here.
To get a clipboard, then I'll have to find it. Can you take notes while I'm gone?
We got the video.
We're at your portion anyways. Make our finance officer report, sure.
Okay, the May financial reports we have in hand. This is almost the end of the fiscal year, so that was why we had a couple of budget amendments that we needed. And, anyway, we're at 84% of our budgeted revenues, and we're at 76% of our budgeted expenses, which means there'll be a surplus, which is how it should be, how it is. Does anyone have any questions about any line items?
What was that, 70 what percent?
Expenditures were at 76%. So we do have that buffer there.
I didn't see anything when I looked through it on the correction.
Any other questions for Sheriff? All right. And then B, to consider adoption of the FY 25 Village of Lake Park budget ordinance, which came out in the packet as well and should have a copy in front of you. Cheryl, anything you need to discuss on that?
I don't think so. These numbers come directly from the line items that we had, and it's in the standard format, which includes our tax rate and our value of real and personal property and motor vehicle property, and allowing me to make budget transfers during the year. So
I know that Sheree got us, she has signed and sent, we're all good with the county. for tax
Yes.
collection.
Tax collection, we are good. They had us send they do everything online.
And DigiSigner, I was wondering why, but what, if they didn't have that.
Some places don't consider that a wet signature. Like the IRS.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, can
So with this chairman, we need to make a motion to adopt.
We need a motion to approve the fiscal year 25 Village of Lake Park budget ordinance.
I'll make that motion.
Steve's made that motion, Jim second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Nay,
Bye-bye, guys. Thank y'all again.
Thanks again.
Balance for me.
Good night.
While we're doing this, I do want to mention to you guys, and I know Cheryl's probably a little nicer than I am, but you need, if you have a vendor that you do business with, please reach out to them and make sure, or that you know for sure, we got all bills. Because this is June is the end of our fiscal year. So if you've got someone that you know, had this little piddly bill that's been hanging out there, we need to get it, so just ask them.
And do you have any checks, Cash?
Yes. I had to send the councilman that's obviously independently wealthy a love letter saying cash your check. So just want to say, guys.
We just got it.
All right.
I know that could be.
Item 8, stormwater inspection of storm drains and road conditions with an update from Eagle Engineering. Sheree?
Okay, so what you're seeing here, we started out by having Kevin to identify areas based upon the road surfaces. And from those, Bruce and I narrowed down that there were 7 areas that we wanted Eagle, which y'all approved, the $4,200 for them to go in camera and look at to see, was there something underneath, or did we look good, or is it something we need to address now, or can we wait? So the very first one here you're seeing is the entrance on Carroll, and you see all the debris down in the bottom of that pipe. You will also notice up where the little eagle sign is, the flag on the corner. The pipe is broke there. And there's also separation on the other side of that one. Isn't that correct, Bruce?
And it's not so much broke as it has separated.
Separated, yeah.
It's dropped.
Yeah.
That's what it's done.
So that one would be the first priority. If you look at Mother Teresa and Ginger, the pipe has dropped. And so we've got a definite gap as to how, now stormwater's still going through it, but it's eroding soil underneath. So that's definitely number 2. Cortlandt Street, even though it looks like it's the worst, is actually, that's just debris that's sitting in the bottom of that pipe. The pipe itself does not seem,
Keep in mind, remember, there's fissures in that pipe.
yeah,
Remember the upper parts?
there are,
You got the hairline cracks going through it. Actually, that's what we talked about at the meeting. That's more of a number 1 priority than Carroll is.
oh, I'm sorry, I flipped Cortland and
That's
Carroll, I apologize. Cortland's supposed to be, thank you, supposed to be the most priority, and Carroll is just debris. What looks like the little crack up there actually is not, they're not recommending at this point that we replace that pipe.
Which one are you talking about?
Carroll,
Okay.
they just would recommend they can flush that because the debris that has settled in the bottom is just hampering the flow.
The
So,
issue with Cortland is it's well trafficked,
yes,
more so than the entrances off of Faith Church onto Crest. That back entrance, Cortland,
Yes,
you know, you can get run over just trying to stand there for a minute.
you can.
it takes an average of 3,000 cars a day through there.
Yeah, there's a lot of people on Cortland that complain about all the water in the back.
Well,
Well, that's not
water
gonna
in the back,
change that.
nothing, that's not gonna change anything.
But what's gonna have to be done with this one on Cortland is it's gonna have to be done like we did on Crest.
So it's under the road.
Yes,
Yeah. It's
so
gonna
we
have to
gotta
be completely
excavate.
Excavated, dug out, that road's got.
Bad soil,
Was it?
probably some bad soil.
Yeah, well, Kevin's on vacation this week.
Yeah.
So, and we literally got these last Thursday or Friday. And so we're gonna need to get a price from him to excavate and to do the 2. For Carroll, the charge is between $250 and $350 to flush the pipe. And that would be, Eagle Engineering would be doing that.
I'm just looking back over the, make sure we're all on the same page. I was looking back at the email.
Mhm.
So Carroll entrance says, pretty heavy rock buildup and the obvious lining failure. You can see by these still shots, water isn't able to pass through and dry out. No rain had taken place in a few days of this inspection, so water is settling, lining failure. We reviewed that on Thursday. I highlighted the areas of concern so you can visualize what the work is, so. Carroll is worse according to the email.
It's not. Based on.
Maybe they got.
These are small screenshots here, but when we looked at it.
On the large,
when Red was
anyway,
there,
2 of the 3 are gonna have to be
A lot of
excavated.
work and the other one can be flushed out,
The other
Right.
one can be flushed out for less than $350.
and we're gonna go ahead and flush it out.
We are.
All right, nice thing about Mother Teresa and Ginger, it's not a high traffic area.
So,
Portland on the other side of that.
Right. Courthouse usually becomes a priority.
I mean, I do have to say, the funny thing is, you know, Joe had said we need to put stop signs on Mother Teresa and freeway stop. That's worked. People are stopping at stop signs.
Yeah, I've noticed it's helped a lot. That yellow line helps a lot too.
It made the fellow who lives in that corner house, whatever his name.
Yeah, I didn't know how he was gonna feel about that. He was
Flippin'
very
Jay.
excited about
Flipping J's.
Flippin' J.
He doesn't park his trucks out the corner. He parks them back further.
it. He
Now
he
people
did
are
park
turning.
back some, but it's one of those things I saw a comment on Facebook from his wife. She's very excited that it was put in. She said
Oh,
they
they
needed
did
it. So we're
People are
back
actually-
Albert Drive.
People are actually stopping. That's the best.
It works, yeah.
okay,
Anyhow,
can
moving
I ask
back.
a question? Where do those drain to? We're gonna flush them out, but where is that debris gonna go to?
They will take it with them. They flush it and
They'll flush it back out.
they put it in the
Flush
vehicle.
to where?
The other side of it.
You said they jetting it, where's it jetted to? The pond
Where is it
or-
gonna be jetted?
No,
to?
it jets into their truck.
So they vacuum.
Back.
Yeah, they take
Oh,
it,
okay,
they
okay,
take
all
it
right.
out.
Back.
All right.
Yes,
I think
essentially they vacuum.
Portland, they won't even bother back.
They don't flush it through the,
Yeah,
Torn up.
suck it back, yeah.
Yeah, it's not going to
Yeah.
appear in a pond or anything. It's coming.
That's what I was just
to the
asking, where is
truck,
this?
yeah.
where's it going?
it flushes that house over there across
Yeah.
the pond.
Yeah.
Those backyards that Mark mentioned that have too much water in it.
So at the July meeting, we'll have prices for those 2 to be excavated and addressed. So this is, but I wanted to give you information on that. I would like to try to get Carol, if not by the end of June, definitely in July, with it being such a small amount, it's just gonna be getting on their schedule.
Yeah.
So, but I wanted council to know where we were there.
Thank you for looking out for those. They are critical, guys.
Mother Teresa is not that critical. It's important.
Yeah.
But the main one that is critical
Yes.
is Portland.
Yeah, the biggest issue we've got is Courtney. When we do these 2, we're gonna have to put out information to everyone because we're gonna close Carroll from where it enters the village of Lake Park to, either Mother Teresa or on up to Mother Teresa at probably Conifer. So what that means is everyone will have to, for a few days while we're working on this, they're gonna have to go out the front entrance.
But the worst one's gonna be Portland, because that's gonna be blocked off for like 4 days.
Well, it'll be both of
What
them,
about the
because
people who live in that area like that?
it'll be for local traffic
They'll be able to
only.
get through.
Yeah.
That's it.
It'll be just like you see local traffic only, just them. Everybody else has gotta
And I
go.
guess we really need to make sure we let the fire department know.
Oh,
what's
yeah.
going
Oh, yeah.
on. So
Fire department, the sheriff's
Yeah.
office, and then,
sheriff's and they usually know those things.
Yeah.
Fire department's always, ambulance service, whatever.
yeah, and the other thing, we'll just notify 911. And then the other thing is, we asked Eagle, did they have any of the roadblock? You know, the
They
big
got-
ones like NCDOT uses, so that we can block those off, but it will be an education process, putting it out there between the social medias that we have when that time comes. Because we'll need to shut it down.
Sounds like we gotta do it. It's not an
Yeah.
option.
No.
So it's one of those things that you hate to spend money, but you gotta spend money, right? So it's gotta be done.
When we saw especially in Portland with the laptop that Ray had here, you could see the fissures in the top and the sidewalls of the pipe that he could.
It's better to have to replace somebody's car when it falls in, so.
You know,
And I'm sure you'll do this. The last thing the surgeon asks before you roll into the operating room is, which arm are we taking off? Because his email does not match up with what y'all are saying, so make sure
Yeah,
that we're doing the right road.
oh, yeah, no, we've got him marked.
And make a market, right?
Oh, no, he's
Market farms are
actually got
taking on.
marks out there.
Yeah, you're
now.
right.
Do we have any idea what kind of magnitude of money?
I cannot tell you that at this point.
If it matches prep, it's $35,000 job.
That's what's coming to my mind.
For each of the two, or?
For
For
each,
the
Reach.
so, but I don't know.
All right, thank you. I didn't drop down B, I pulled I told you in the email, Connie's Pond off of consent agenda down just for discussion, but I forgot to stick it in the slide here, so I'll let Sheree talk about Connie's Pond right quick too.
Currently, we have two different prices on Connie's Pond, and they're extremely different. And so, I'm working to get another quote. We have a quote from Lucas, we have a quote from KC. And I would like Foster Lake and Pond to quote on this also, because there is such a discrepancy in pricing. All three of them have specs from Eagle Engineering. I just, and I talked at length today with Lucas, but I'm not comfortable with the difference in the pricing. Something's missing here, so,
Yeah, apples and oranges.
I think I do. And so I'm-
Apples and watermelons.
So I'm very concerned about that. So I will be back with Connie's Pond in July.
So we're not gonna do anything in June?
Not there,
Yeah.
maybe not anywhere. All right, and then Christopher Channel.
This seems to be a sort of subject year after year, or every
Yeah.
so often.
There is little to no fall in this stormwater channel. Which what that means is it's basically flat. So how that impacts the flow of water is when we are receiving these heavy rains, the water, just due to sheer force, is coming from the Normandy Pond, which is there on Faith Church Road, that little pond. And it's coming from the roads, and it's gushing in, and it forces it down that channel just due to sheer magnitude of water that's being moved. But the problem is it leaves standing water. We've slowed it down. That's what riprap does. It is an easement which we have the right to maintain, but it still remains the property of the residents. They are to, keep their part of the stormwater clean, stormwater easement. But the problem is the water begins to build up. It gets warm, the plants go berserk, you're standing in water, and all of a sudden it's snaky. And it tends to back up the storm water grates from the roads. Those inlets that are coming in begin to get clogged because water is backing up because it's not dissipating. So you begin to get this vegetation growth. And I get it. There is enough standing water out there that the mosquitoes could carry you off. And do if you want to take the opportunity to walk up the channel, which Bruce and I did last week.
And even with the vegetation growth that you see in that far left picture, there's still a lot of water.
There's
under
still
that.
water. I mean, it's just, you can't walk in that channel without there being at least at a minimum 5 or 6 inches of water. And when we were out there on Thursday, it had not rained. We tried to space out so we could see what we're looking at. There's water standing in the inlet structures and there's water standing in that channel. We have spent over $60,000 in that channel.
I don't know, it's an exercise in futility.
We can, Lucas gave us a price from can you go back one slide, please? Gave us a price to address the vegetation, which in that first slide you see with the high green grass. If you were walking up the channel from Queen Street or Queens Drive, whatever that is, right off of Craft, and you walk up the channel, when you get to the first retaining wall on the left, which is 5908 Hoover Avenue.
And that is that retaining wall in that.
That is that retaining wall in that picture. And across the street, for some of you who know Jean Foster, that's kind of where it is. And she's at 3616 or 3618 Christopher. So that kind of gives you that point. And you walk down to where Eric Moore lives, which is the Joshua Alley behind Jeremy's house. But the repair work they're talking about would end at Eric Moore's he's got a white privacy fence there. So you're talking of the channel, and I can send you this picture around. So this is what we're talking about. None of this up here, which there's another retaining wall, and right here at the bridge that's at that little pond, Normandy Pond, that outlet needs to be addressed also. That's not addressing that. You would be spending $4,000.
That's just to get the vegetation.
That's right.
Only in 160, I went out there and measured today, and so that area she just talked about, from that retaining wall backwards to the fence, is 164 feet. It's 850 feet from,
The
because I
little
want to check
bridge.
that too, from the bridge to down there where it dumps.
So is it not the homeowner's responsibility to keep that vegetation down, or is it our responsibility?
It becomes both in
Yeah, I thought you said that
reality, because you're
initially.
asking a homeowner in this, they were keeping it down
Yep.
until water started standing.
Mhm.
Water starts standing,
One of the things I
No,
think,
I get it, I understand what you're saying, but, you
Yeah.
know,
it is it is our job to maintain the stormwater channels from the standpoint of keeping water flowing so things don't back
so my
up.
next question is, go back to the next slide with the fees. Who's done this work in the past? Because obviously we've had issues with it.
Well, we had Eagle Engineering to help with the fall and design the channel originally. In 2017, that's when Eagle and then Lucas did the work. Then
So
in,
after Lucas did it, the Eagle come back out, inspect it and say,
Yeah.
okay.
they
And
signed
it was
off
the
on it,
pitch it was supposed to be and everything.
Yeah. the fall and everything. Then in July of 2021, we spent $24,000.
And who
And
did
You
that?
doing the same thing or extending it?
we did the same thing.
Who did that?
Lucas did it again.
Okay.
And,
So that was really only 3 years ago, right?
yep,
We didn't get the slope right then, obviously.
well, the problem is with the riprap and all, you don't have enough. Obviously, we don't have enough fall to keep this water moving. So it's settling underneath, even though they're putting down fabric underneath.
Right, but that comes into play
riprap.
from either one, Eagle didn't have enough fall when they presented it to us. Or two, Lucas didn't put it down right? The
Not
pitch right. It's
necessarily.
it's gotta be one of the two there.
Not
'Cause you would've pitched
necessarily,
it
because
right
the other
initially.
thing you've got going is you've got your water that is flowing through and washing your riprap and your fabric and the dirt,
Right.
it's gonna wash everything.
Right.
And we know since 2021, we've had some rains that are 100-year flood rains, So when you have those, it's very difficult it's not easy to say, well, you did this.
It's
or
one
you
of those
did
things,
that.
you spend the money, you hope you're doing it right.
Right,
You're doing it by what Eagle's saying, and you're
Right.
coming back,
and
was
we're
that
doing it.
4 years later, having to redo it again, maybe
And
coming
now
back
we're
3 years
yeah.
later, wanting to redo it again. Why don't we just fill it up or something?
Well,
I don't think, I
therein
don't think we
raise-
should do this stuff again.
therein
Yeah.
raises the question. So, go ahead.
I'm going off of some things Steve was talking about here. So we do not, let me go back here. So November and July, Eagle did the engineering, Lucas did the work.
Mhm.
Eagle went back to check Lucas's work and approve Lucas's work.
Mhm.
So that comes to me to come down to saying a couple of things. First here is, did Eagle do the work correctly? And I understand what you're saying is there's wrap there. When water comes down, the rip wrap is to slow the water so it doesn't cause.
But they should have factored some of that in their calculations.
Right, that's right. They're gonna put that inside there so you don't have all this water streaming in 900 feet down the road. But you're also saying that we don't have that. You're saying it's basically flat. So why would the water be running down? Some things don't calculate in my head. So why would the water be rushing down when it's force only that's coming from Normandy Pond coming in?
Well, it's
Going
not
down.
just Normandy Pond, then you gotta think.
It's the Normandy, it's all the water, it's
All the
all the road
roads.
water is all coming in.
Yes.
It's being gonna be forced down, so we have to have something to slow the water down because of all that force coming in. Again. But the problem then comes is in my head, is pitch.
Yeah.
What is
That's
that
how
pitch?
fall. Mhm.
So could there possibly, this is something that, and I'm just gonna say an engineering firm needs to address. Could we raise the level of Normandy Pond? I don't know how high those walls are. I don't know anything about what the retention capacity needs to be there. I'm just saying, could the water level be raised up Normandy Pond by 6 inches, 8 inches to allow to have some pitch coming down that channel where you could have riprap or whatever was used there. But my question would be, we've had Eagle out there twice. It was designed originally, from what I'm understanding, it was originally designed by Eagle. Is that correct?
No, the
No.
stormwater channel was put in by the developer.
By the, okay. So Eagle was out there. I'm gonna say, why don't we just get another bid from a different engineering firm to take a look at this, to make sure we are doing it, because we spent approximately $60,000 and it's lasting 3 years.
Yeah, I guess there's no warranty on Lucas on it, right?
Right, no.
I mean, we always ask that question on other stuff, but Lucas warranty that for 3 years? I mean, gosh, that's a lot of money for 3 years.
Right, so
You have to do it
if we're
again.
gonna spend money again, I wanna make sure it's spent
I don't want-
appropriately, and I'm gonna say, let's get another bid from another engineering firm to come out and do that.
Yeah, from the pond down to where it ends, which is Queens and.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gotta be going down and settling up and going down, so all these
let's-
things are work. I mean, it's gotta be tapering fairly gently all the way down, you're gonna have to be dug deep.
Yeah, I don't think doing the same thing we've been doing is the right answer.
Right,
Yeah,
One of the things, and Sri didn't get to this part. This part yet, but, so Kevin met Sri and Bruce out there and looked at it, and his recommendation is concrete channel, which we had talked about a few years ago. In my mind, I wonder if you take all that riprap out and you build a concrete channel, you might control that slope by having higher concrete on the end. The depth of the concrete is kind of over there. I'm no engineer, I don't know that, but I understand what you're saying.
You just have to watch your grade, because what's been happening, what's been done in the past, you're doing riprap and everything on top of dirt.
but
And that's all gonna settle depending on where the water ends up stopping and laying, so now you have is what you have.
But if we're coming down to one, I want to say, well, if you go down the concrete road, that's going to 95% address any growth. You're gonna get spillage over from there, there's gonna be some sediment in there, but that should be able to be flushed.
Can it be a combination of riprap and concrete, riprap, concrete?
No.
No,
Good
but it
concrete.
could be,
Is concrete the cheaper way? I mean, could you put a pipe all through there?
No,
Kevin's comment was the pipe would be 3 or 4 times the concrete.
but you can go concrete into riprap. The end at Queens, between Queens and, the white fence
Right.
is in good shape. And it's not a problem. Right. Mm-hmm.
Well,
No, that's fine. It was done though 3 years ago, but it's still,
Yeah, it's, I just don't want to do the same thing all over again we did in 2017 and then 2021.
so. In
that's why
talk,
we did what we did to go out and look at it.
Yeah.
The other day.
Oh, so you guys on top of
I just want to, I want to say that where you were talking, there was just gonna say roughly 5 inches of water still standing, but it's still standing at the end of that, still, correct?
no,
Yeah,
not when it gets down to,
that's right there behind the white fence,
yeah, no.
standing in water.
You're talking
Standing water.
about,
I'm talking
At
about,
Queens?
is there any standing water at Queens
No.
before it goes in there? No, it's
No.
all dry down there.
it's dry
And what about?
and no vegetation,
So his quote is 850 feet,
right,
which is from the head wall
of the
of the little bridge
little bridge,
all the way to,
not all the way to Queen.
I'm telling you, that's 850 feet. I measured it.
That's what
Okay.
that's what measured.
I thought he stopped, he told us he stopped right at the,
He stopped.
right before,
He stopped.
Well, I don't think the right answer is to spend money on the vegetation. The right answer is to fix it right and get it right
Okay.
again. But I think we have to go back and look at some options on that. I wouldn't want to go spend $4,000 on 800 feet of vegetation.
No.
No, so,
That's a-
I'm
that's a
sorry, I
Band-Aid.
want to say one other thing on top of that, is we shouldn't have any standing water in there. And I think that needs to be also addressed. Standing water brings mosquitoes, brings other stuff.
Snakes and everything else.
We don't want it. So that's what I'm saying is, let's
Let's get someone else to
understand,
look at that pond and.
get someone else to look at it.
Channel.
Is it,
Maybe we can raise the height of the pond, I don't know.
Right.
Then,
is it safe to assume that the engineering company does not oversee Lucas or come back after Lucas is done and say, yes, they graduated here down?
no, they periodically check on them during the process.
Lucas really is not the company. They've done it twice now. And they're not the company to correct it.
But then again, if the.
But again, it makes me
engineering
think about
company
any other
says they
stormwater
did
issue that the company.
I'm gonna,
No, can't go that route either.
But I'm just saying, I mean, that's what puts in my mind, if I have somebody come fix some water line in my house and I got another water line issue, I'm not gonna get the same people to come back.
Again,
Even though it's another water issue.
So hold on. I am going to say this, to me, Lucas isn't the problem. So the problem is, in my head, the engineering firm came out and approved Lucas's work. They said it did it to the plans. So
That
to
was the
me,
first time, right?
and second time,
Did they do it the second time
They
as well?
didn't do the second, they did.
They did the second time, just the first time.
Lucas did the second one.
Mhm.
But the engineer firm.
There was no
didn't come out.
engineering firm, involved? Oh, I thought engineering firm was on both.
So there's an issue in both there with that one.
Okay.
I'd really, again, I know we like to use Lucas on a lot of stuff, but I'd have to really hardly look at what they can do and not do.
What is the price of doing a concrete?
Can I make a suggestion?
You have,
You raise your hand.
So when we had Kevin walk down the channel with us, the question was raised from a ballpark standpoint, what are we looking at to concrete 2, 2, and 3? So basically think of 2 sidewalk panels on each side coming down and then 3 across, which will help. It'll widen that channel and it would also contain that channel. What would something like that cost? The concrete's gonna have to be pumped in, because that was another question, how do you get to it? Because it's a long stretch. And you're looking at, now this is no engineering. You're looking at $100,000 ballpark. You know, give or take $10,000 either way, but you're looking at about $100,000.
Should have to be that big, given these aren't that big.
Yes. Because worst case scenario with the rain, just like here, we say, okay, your ponds should drop within 48 hours. This channel, now there may be times where there's a little thin layer of water in the bottom, but it would be wide enough from a volume standpoint to help keep that water moving as long as you can get the right fall.
Yeah, I hear you on the cost, but what we're doing is not working. We're almost
I'm-
$100,000 in.
Right, I'm not disagreeing at all. We had, in the town of Indian Trail, did a channel like that you all approved, doing, that ended at the back of Truman and,
Lincoln.
thank you, Truman and Lincoln. It ends in, you know, we gave them the right, they would maintain that
Oh, yeah.
and all, and they concreted that whole channel from, I don't know whether it's from, seems like, I know it's from Third coming this way. So I was going to, if council was amenable to the idea, honestly, before I did a lot more work on this, reach out to the town of Indian Trail and ask who they utilized to concrete the channel. Now, Indian Trail has stormwater engineers, and I'm going to ask them, did they provide engineering drawings telling exactly how far, did they shoot those points? And I'm also going to, I should have, or we should be able to come up with the 2017 engineering where we laid that. Now, I know some of that has changed just due to erosion.
Yeah.
But we ought to be able to come up with hopefully an idea. So I wanted to see, and it sounds like y'all are amenable to leaving it alone another month, give me till July, and let me see if I can get, in a perfect world, that's a lot of money. And I cannot, in good conscience, just go with one vendor's quote.
Yeah, it's a lot of money, but it's also, we spend a lot of money on it, so we've got to do our due diligence.
Yeah, and I'm
But
not
we gotta come up
disagreeing.
with a different solution, like you said, maybe a different engineer firm to look at it or something.
Most engineering firms require a retainer.
Understand.
Something
that.
much like-
But we're spending money with
I'm not
Eagle, we're not getting
disagreeing.
anything done there. It's
Okay.
benefiting.
And we put that out to bid while you three were on council at the time, and their pricing came in substantially higher. And that's a firm that, your friend Bonnie, anyway, it's a firm that, the town of Wesley Chapel works with and some others. I will certainly be glad
Well, we might
to
have to
get you
spend more on
priced.
this one to get it right this time.
I'll do some due
There's other
diligence.
ones too.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
you know, we, in
Understand.
general, but I will certainly do some due diligence and get some more information. But I wanted some feedback.
And that's all we can ask you to do is give us more information.
I have a side issue on this one where, you know, with the riprap, the water, when it gushes down, it's not gonna gush down as quickly as if it were on concrete. I would assume it'd be more on concrete, because it's a smooth surface, da, da, da. Is there any liability? with
Well,
children
that's the
playing it?
reason, well, you have to make the channel 3 feet wide.
Mhm.
That's what, you know, making it wider is gonna give it
Little less.
little, you know, slowing it
Is there
down.
any
That's all.
liability with children playing in there?
Well, you have kids not throwing rocks.
That's what they make signage for. You have to put signage.
But, I mean, that's people's private yard, so you're not gonna, you know, that's their backyards, so, you know,
It's an easy.
it's an easement, it's not, You know, we're not gonna,
I think we need to look at different options, I'm sure, than what we've done in the past.
I don't think you really have any more liability, Mark, than what you have right now with the legislation.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's-
I wouldn't want to live there with
No.
you know,
Just
possible
the bugs alone.
snakes and the bugs.
Yeah, just
Smells
throw that
and-
out there, so everybody had any.
And the thing is, we have time, because really, the only way that you can really do any kind of extensive concrete work like that is when the weather's gonna be dry. So that's gonna be at least 4, if not 5 days in a row.
Yeah.
That's gonna take, so July and August are gonna be the optimum months, I
Yeah.
would say, to do that work.
or September even, you know, it just depends.
Just gather what's back.
All right. I'll
To
work
be
on
clear
that.
on what we're gonna get, though, you're gonna get a second quote, or attempt to get at least a second quote,
And I
and work
will,
on seeing about getting it engineered, is that what I'm hearing?
Should you, is that the right order though? Should you first get the engineer?
I think you need to get the
You might
engineer
be calling
first,
for a
because you need
different
to see if
scope
that's
of
even
work.
what they want, would suggest doing or not.
Right.
Different engineers
Yeah.
might have something totally different, we can't even fathom, because we're not engineers.
In the city of Los Angeles has these things all over, they call them storm drains, and they're all concrete.
And we have a stormwater engineer somewhere in the neighborhood.
we do, he's on, Normandy Pond.
Anyhow,
So,
Could you check with him?
I can,
I don't know if engineer advice, like attorney advice, free, is not usually worth it. But he could give us some guidance.
Well, he is his own firm, so he's
Yeah, he-
not charged.
He could give us some guidance, right?
So, just a thought question. If we do go down a concrete road, it's complete if. That riprap that's there, could that riprap be used on a pond?
some of it can and some of it won't be able to.
Kevin's quote was to, with that 100,000 included stockpile it somewhere to be able to be used.
what could be reused?
That's
He
another-
brought that up
story
before we
figuring
even
out where-
mentioned it to him, so he was already thinking ahead, which is a good one.
Thank you, Drew. PNR, just as a piece of information, we did discuss the Russell Park picnic shelter and the possibility of those funds coming from the state. And just had a discussion about whether it was still supported or not by PNR, and it was a unanimous decision. John was not there that night. He's, Roxy had a birthday party or something. at the time, had to do that. But the others that were there did vote and affirmed to continue to recommend this piece of information. Memorial Day tribute went very well, had a pretty well attended event. The weather gave us some havoc early on and throughout it with the winds and blowing flags over, but we worked through it. We are gonna get some in-ground flag holders up there before next year to be able to slot them in the ground and not have them fall over all day long. Dennis Helms, our guest speaker, and Bruce, thank you for that. Our Independence Day celebration, the planning is underway. They're gonna need some help that day. I'm out of town that week. Our 30th anniversary is the following week on the 9th, which is the night of our meeting. And I've got to be out of town the week before, so I won't be here for the July 4th event.
Yeah, well, either.
So anybody that is here can help. Our next meeting is June 24th, and summer projects, which are not that much going on. Planning board, Steve, anything?
I wouldn't have anything in May, no May meeting or next meeting, next week.
Waste collection is covered. Streets and sidewalks, Bruce.
All right, potholes and the paving, that's all been done. That's done and paid for. They did a very good
And
job.
I've heard a lot of great comments about that, Bruce.
They did a nice job.
Yeah, about the village taking care of getting that done.
And the crew that came in here did a heck of a job.
Yeah.
They were working like rabbits. I mean, the way they were going with those bobcats. We only had one small.
They were working so fast, they forgot to take one load with them.
Forgot 2 piles on Conifer.
Yeah.
But they
I heard
came
that.
back, yeah.
I mean, so
And
many
phone
people
calls.
just commented that it was a great thing that needed to be done, it's past due.
Yeah, oh yeah, it was way past due.
So it's a good thing to see that.
That's done. The streets and sidewalks, what you see there is, I call it a culvert, but I guess it's our gutters and the village and like they have over in the trail. They're dropping,
Mhm.
all right? Some of them are dropped a heck of a lot. And we're gonna have to move forward with some potholes, if I can find where my notes are, if I can't, currently. We've got a good amount that's gotta be done. I think there are 8 of the culverts that have to be repaired and 11 or 12 sidewalk panels that have to be replaced within the village. All of the ones you're looking at there with the culverts, they're on the opposite side of Faith Church and off of Hoover and that other road, I can't think of.
Queens.
Queen, okay.
So just a question on those, Bruce, are they near any of the drains? Those that need to be replaced?
No. They're not right on top of the storm drains.
Yeah, just somewhere near, are they near it that way? Because that's a problem, could have been a problem. Take the drain,
No,
do two
that would have
things
been great
at
if
the
it
same
was.
time.
Nah, didn't work out that way, Jim.
Okay,
But we're looking at approximately. We gotta figure out how everything lined
Is
up.
there any way to jack those up or
No.
anything? You just have to go to replace them.
That one is one of the
Better
least, whereas there's some that are snapped in half. You know, and some of them are like 2 or 3 sections of snapped out.
His quote was 11,475, and then there was a couple other panels that you had found since then.
Yeah, well, actually, the whole quote is, Richard, sorry. I got an old estimate. Gotta hire a secretary. Anyhow, what you said, 11,
11,475.
and I'd like to get, I have 95 and change left in my budget for the year. So we're gonna have to appropriate some money. I'd like to put it up to 12,500 because I've already got a few more emails I've been getting from other residents. Of course, one email I got had nothing to do with the sidewalk plan, had to do with overgrown hedges. Well, I don't know. But
Which
that's
they
okay.
got a letter.
But the irony is, when I went over to look at I didn't go over to look at the hedges, I said, man, they were trimming these hedges, I'm saying, there was a concrete panel just ahead of those hedges that was all shattered. So that is one of the ones we'll be replacing. So, here's my list. Go ahead.
Vonda Court, there's this, at the head of the cul-de-sac, right where the sidewalk shoots through to, Alden.
Oh, on the walkway between the two.
Yeah, the
Okay.
walkway between Vonda Court and, right at Vonda Court and the quarter, there was like this concrete chunk, looks like chalk almost, it sits there.
I haven't even seen that.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, I sent you a picture. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, send it to me. With the, maybe you send me the picture without the address.
Yeah, it's been there.
I get people do that a lot, you know, 'cause you're very good at getting out emails. Hey, send, you know, so do I get pictures? Don't get any addresses, but I get pictures.
On
You know, but send me
Vaughn's,
that. Okay, but that's just an example of why I want to get a little bit more
Right.
than what I'm figuring right now, so.
Surely it looked like contingency could handle this plus the,
In the
earlier.
villager this month, you want your typical, road skies.
I don't think any of it had been spent.
Call Bruce. any-
Let's hold off a month, because we're gonna finish this
That's what I'm
project
saying.
before this budget ends, and then we're going into the new budget, so.
We had 69 in
Yeah, so we only moved 2,200 earlier.
the, yes, so we should do that much, yeah.
Yeah, so is there a motion to appropriate $3,100 from contingency to sidewalks?
I make that.
Mark's made a motion, second, Jim second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. And is there a motion to approve $12,500 in sidewalk and gutter repairs?
Yeah, make that motion.
Mark
I'll
made
second
that
that
motion. Steve second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion
wait a
carries.
minute, can you repeat who just did the approval motion?
Mark and Steve. All right.
What you
Mark,
just
Steve.
said?
You made
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Sorry, Sheree.
That's okay.
Lighting and electrical, just spoke to Joe this afternoon. He has talked with Union Power, and I know that he's tried again. I saw an email that went out last week asking about not just the loose poles, but there's also the situation of Waste Pro hitting the other pole, and I don't think that Union Power has replied.
I have sent 2 emails to Brad. I'm getting ready to show up in his office.
Right.
Probably won't do that.
They're working on assessing the loopholes and figuring out the deal of their waste. He did tell me that he got the parts in this weekend for the clock tower audio repair. He actually had hoped to get over and get it done, but he did not. So he'll probably work over there this weekend.
That thing was loud this weekend. I was like, we're sitting in front porch. I was like, wow, that's louder than it usually is. So
I felt like
I
it.
was, it's like, I hope he hadn't replaced parts in it yet.
I asked him if he had changed the volume and he said no, because I felt like it was.
It was loud
Up and
Sunday,
down,
yeah,
so-
and he's like, oh my gosh.
Fairly old, over my mind. So,
Yeah, I usually hear it, but that, I mean, it was like, okay, we must turn that thing up.
Ordinance Review Committee, Jim, anything? I have put some notes on there, some things that came forward.
Yeah, ordinance review committee that we are, our next meeting is scheduled for June 17th. It'll be a quarterly meeting.
The deputies had asked us, let me back up.
Sure.
The deputies sent in a couple things asking about some definitions and figuring out some footages rules that are in the ordinance as far as back from an intersection. I know Joe said he's gonna talk to Sheree, but today told me he had not about that specifically, so I took that off the slide. But another thing that came about is temporary RV parking. The way the ordinance reads right now, you can't stop an RV, whether it's being pulled or when you drive, you can't technically go over there to the storage and get it, bring it over here and park it at your house and go in and load it to go to the beach. Like, you can't stop in the village. Like, back it in your driveway, nothing the village can do, it becomes an HOA thing. But, so the question arose, we had a gentleman who received a warning ticket. There's some differences of opinion of how long it was parked there for him to load it or unload it or fix something on it, I don't know. So that's one of the things that I asked Joe for you guys to look at. And the deputy said, the question I asked back on Joe's behalf was, what's a reasonable time? And the deputy said, well, I don't know what to tell you, that'd be for you guys to determine, but just please don't use ambiguous terms like you can be parked there for a limited time or while loading, because he said you might be loading and then 3 hours later he comes back and it's still there and it's still loading.
He's on something else, yeah.
He's got no way to enforce it because they're still loading, whereas if he rides by at noon and it's a 3 hour time limit, he goes at 4 o'clock, he knows.
And I've seen them sitting in places for, overnight and things like that. And that's not loading on the road.
And then the other thing that I think you guys are already working on with the commercial vehicle definition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was another situation over in the Garden District that was sent in about a vehicle that's parked over there that really doesn't, if you look at it, you'd say it's a commercial vehicle, but it doesn't meet the definition by the ordinance. So. And Joe did ask if I would just remind everybody that to just, when you can, familiarize yourself with the general ordinance, the parking, things like that.
I'm gonna guess that comment was directed towards me.
It might have been.
Because
not
I'm
sure.
like the little community snitch, to where if I see something wrong, or somebody, I get a lot of requests from people saying, this is this way, this is this way, can you check out or whatever? And like the one that I did this last week to you about the people who were parking on the sidewalks, they were parking in the backyard.
Right.
I didn't know because they were parking and covering the sidewalk, whether that was our issue or whatever. So I threw it out to you and I threw it out to the HOA and I threw the police officers in it.
Yeah,
And,
which was good.
yeah, okay, so that's what I'm saying, kind of like.
Usually if it's the other side of the sidewalk in their yard, it's the HOA. If the sidewalk out, it's our issue.
And if they're blocking the sidewalk, if they're,
Yeah, that's
the
what I said,
sidewalk
the
goes
sidewalk
through
out,
their,
yeah.
their thing and they've got a car on it, then it's technically a violation of the
It's
ordinance.
ours.
But some people you could just temporarily,
Agree, yeah.
And basically, the officer, I think it was,
you don't see them there often, right?
And
Sometime walking,
Brian,
somebody
yeah.
have a car sticking. out
Brian
a little bit.
basically said it's an HOA problem,
They do.
Well,
which
in
basically
the,
means not ours.
in the yard, if they're from the sidewalk to their house or in their backyard,
That's HOA.
that's totally HOA.
Right.
Only if they're on the sidewalk to the curb or in the street
Yeah, in the house strip there.
is our fault, is not our fault, is our problem.
Gotcha.
So,
And there was another one I threw over at you, I can't remember what it was.
Nothing wrong with getting the information, getting the right answer, but he
Oh, yeah,
was saying if you,
the porta potty was over right outside.
And you know, that messed with me because I wasn't sure that you weren't locked in that thing based on.
Yeah, I said, get me out of here. I said, get me out of here with a picture of the thing over it.
And we got it right. We do think though, and this gets back to the situation with the break-ins last night. It is summer and we do think we've got kids that knocked that porta john over.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was
And
wondering.
It wasn't the wind that came through.
Yeah.
So just be aware, if you're seeing anything, you know, call the non-emergency number and say, hey, but yeah, I wasn't sure you weren't in there.
Yeah.
I've heard a couple complaints about the porta potties sitting out there all summer. I just tell them to call you.
That's fine. Please do. I have no problem with that.
Technology, he just said if anybody he thinks everybody's set up a virtual assistant, if you're not, just let him know, we're glad to help. And then Ring Central, everything seems to be working good. He is in the process or is about to work with Cherie on her phone to get it configured, her
Yeah.
cell phone for the remote work, that'll be starting. Special project update, Cherie, landings.
We do not have an update on the landings. As you're all aware, Ripple is actively installing in homes and they have gone live. In the last, I know they've had some speed issues, but they've been working to address those.
Yeah, there's a guy that made a post on my unofficial page,
Okay.
and he really knows his stuff by the terminology he was throwing out there. And he turned it off, and it was a horrible thing. And all of a sudden, now it's up to 900. He says, I'm happy. So apparently all these issues are worked out. He said something about a server that you connect up to. First of all, he said, connect up with Pineville server, and that helped a lot. And all of a sudden, oh, I finally did the Charlotte server. I don't know what he's talking about, but the Charlotte server popping up to the 900s, he's happy now.
The mayor
So-
reached out to him down the street. I saw that message.
So in other words, I think all this stuff can be worked out, and that was a very helpful, it was like when he first did it, I was like, oh, geez. But then it basically worked
Okay.
itself out to where it educated a lot of people, so that was good.
Does it work better at your house, Jeremy?
It's better today, yeah. And they didn't, they can't, I called in the service call last night and they came at 3:30 today and he didn't do anything, but I was gonna work all day. I just met him there, went in and it was fixed because they had fixed whatever the problem
It
is.
takes time to work some.
I mean, that's what it says, first day of service. And
The other thing I want to say is the email that I think you sent out basically saying that Ripple's ready. You're either to call this number or go to the website. I called the number because I wanted to ask him, well, if we start out with the 55 gig, is it a major deal if we say, that's too slow, bump it up to a gig? And he said, it's no problem. You can easily be done. We don't have to redo anything or anything. So that was a question I had. And I said, well, while I'm here on the phone, why don't I just go ahead and sign up? And he checked and my address is not done. I have the black box on the house.
No, just because you have a black box.
Well, I know, I just want to set an appointment.
Okay,
And he says, you're not active in that part of the community yet. Which kind of floored me a little bit. So I said to myself, I'll bring it up at the council meeting.
okay. I'll reach out and see why you're not active.
Yeah, for anything, there are 3 trucks on Balsam right by the alley that goes to your house. Been there.
Yeah, I
on and
can
off
see
for
them
2
out there on the
days.
street, yeah. And I actually went to try to sign up, and it wouldn't let me sign up.
Okay. I will respond back to you on that.
all right.
Are they charging people to sign up now?
They said as long as
As
they
long
were
as-
still in here doing
Working.
activations, they wouldn't charge.
I found it a little curious. They finished in our neighborhood, I don't know, at least a year ago. And then we got something in the mail that you can get a $200 gift card if you sign up now, so
They're, I was
flexible.
waiting on Mark to post this, hoping that he didn't. They had an ad on Facebook, a sponsored ad on Facebook this weekend. You get $100 Visa gift card if you sign up. I thought, I don't think you're gonna get, if you read the fine print, it said,
If
but there's
no
the
other-
there's the $200 installation fee. And I thought, well, I hope Mark won't share that. People will think they got waived on the 200 and they're gonna get the $100. So I'm glad you didn't see it. Cause I know you would have posted it.
Yeah.
All right. Item C under 14 is the consideration for the offer for the Churchill Pond Common Area. Kevin and Tessa Schwab did bring down to Sheree the documentation. Ken has reviewed it. Ken did request a couple of changes. They made the changes and added the addendum, which Sheree made copies of just before this meeting, handed out.
Did I?
I know you went to make copies.
That tells you what,
You went in there. I don't know what you did, but,
Lord knows.
basically what Ken wanted changed, which they agreed to and created an exhibit to put with the offer, said that they understand the purchase of the land does not automatically qualify them to put in a fence, or it doesn't do anything but sell the land to them. It doesn't. Because he talks in their offer about to construct a fence, this, that, and the other. So he just wanted to make sure that they were clear that you're just buying the land with this, you're not, it doesn't give you the authority to put up a fence, you gotta still go through the UDO. And she's getting that. We'll let you.
And they covering all the expenses?
So, yeah, Ken said he asked to get it up to cover the $250. That he wouldn't have any expenses other than that. So they, instead of offering the $10 or whatever we talked about, or $1 and the trees, did $100, and then in the addendum, offer up to an additional $150 in attorney fees to get to the total $250 that.
And that would be all their expenses, the attorney fees, or it's,
I think,
but you have to do the upset bid and all that stuff?
The advertising for
Yeah.
them, and you have to do register of deeds.
yeah, and so, and it maybe, we'll talk about this when Sheree sits down. There are other conditions in the document that Sheree sent out, which include what they have to pay for some stuff. The $250, Sheree, the question was,
They're looking at what other costs, and I was wondering, do you have to have a survey?
Yes, he'll have to
yeah,
pay.
and that's included in the thing that's in the offer that they're gonna pay for a survey.
So my question, Sheree, was how much cost does the village gonna have out of their pocket?
We should have zero. We're
Two
not
fifty
gonna,
covers Ken, what about the upset bid process or stuff like that?
they'll pay for the upset bid process. It's just a little, is an ad. It's less than $30 in the newspaper. But we do have to advertise that.
So we have nothing, we walk away with nothing, except a piece of land we gave away and they cover the cost of taking the trees down.
Yes, sir.
And I think if you read the process that he's suggesting is, it's send it to the current offer, purchase land, hire a surveyor to mark off the new lot, provide a new survey, take down the trees in question, close off the new lot dimensions, and then install the new fence. That's where Ken wanted to back out of with the addendum to say, right, we understand we gotta go through the UDO for all that stuff.
And then, the buyer is responsible for all fees, costs, and expenses of any type related to the installation of a fence, permit fees for the village, costs, other expenses for approval and construction. So we're not.
It doesn't sound like
paying
it's that
anything.
much for us to sell it, right? $30 or so.
Well, he should
Net-
pay
net
that in the
nothing.
original offer. It says they pay all.
Yeah, I'm just saying
expenses.
it was, type thing. So
Yeah.
make sure they understand what they're having to pay.
Right.
Yes. No, and supposedly they have talked with their attorney and they are aware that, they pay for everything.
The resolution, did you send that out in the packet? I think you did,
The
the
resolution.
actual resolution.
Yes,
That's
I
what we
did.
would adopt tonight. is the
Yeah, yeah.
resolution.
Yes, the resolution to do the upset bid.
There's really no
Do you have one?
specific mention of the trees in question, other than he's gonna get the property, and just like anybody else's property, they're responsible for their trees.
I
He
think that's
says-
where we ended with it that night, although he says. in
Yeah, he
his
says
thing-
something about he'll have the trees taken down, but we ended that night was, I'm not gonna tell him what to do with them. but-
Right. He says that there are also 3 trees on the property that would need to be taken down due to pest and safety concerns. If approved to acquire the land, we would take on the responsibility of the trees. So whatever that responsibility is,
It's theirs.
it's
They're accepting
theirs.
it.
Yeah. So,
Any other questions?
So I put a motion to approve the resolution to begin the approval resolution for authorizing upsetting process.
Jim has made a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Bruce second. All those, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Community information, Mark.
Well, I forgot my phone, so I couldn't
Go
get,
right now.
well, I couldn't get a printable version of the agenda for the HOA. Rick sent it over and I couldn't print it out, so it's not printable, blah, blah, blah. But I can look at it on the phone. But anyhow, it's just basically the normal stuff on the third Monday and Tuesday of the month. They got the drive around from the HOA. There were, I don't know, 12 different architectural review committee things that were approved. There were, I don't know, probably 12 or 13 different, 16 different violations for miscellaneous things like fence or whatever. And that was pretty much it from the then they are basically negotiating with contracts for a landscape over in the Garden Tree district, and they're working on that. The other things happened, Ruth McCarthy passed away about a week ago. And so she's now with the Lord. And Jim McCarthy, Skip, is going to be in his house just for a few more days, and then he'll be moving into the retirement place that the two were going to move into. And so anyhow, first for them. I talked to the daughter, Katie. I made a post on the unofficial page
okay,
about the whole thing, and I asked her permission to post it first, and she told me that they're gonna have a celebration of life thing, and I'll post that to the village. Anybody who wants to go to that can do that. Other thing, Mark Phillips had a major heart attack about 2.5 months ago. And I mean, we're talking, Margaret, his wife, was there giving him CPR for 22 minutes before the emergency arrived.
Wow.
And according to her, she said she looked into it, and it was 11 minutes from the time she made the call until dispatch went out to the ambulance. So there was like 11 minutes that were like floating out there that she was on her husband doing this for 22 minutes until the emergency vehicle got there. True or not, I don't know, but that's what she told me. He basically, the surgeon at the hospital said, basically told her that the chances of him making it are not that well, pretty slim actually. There were 10 heart attacks apparently in that 1 week, from heart attacks that were like his. All the other 9 people died. He was the only one that survived. And so anyhow, I made a post on that as well on the unofficial site for people that want to help out, send cards, food trade or whatever. That's all I have.
He was in 3 or 4 different hospitals all the way up.
Oh, yeah, he was 77 days. He ended up at Duke in Matthews, and he went to Duke. And
She did say, Cherie, that every time she's called from her landline,
Mhm.
the 911, she gets a busy signal.
oh, yeah, yeah.
Well,
Because she
then I
said
would
right
check the
after that,
phone.
she called again,
Mhm.
some other thing that he was having, not that night, but a different night, and she got a busy signal.
Yeah.
She's like, she called 2 or 3 times, she was busy signals. And she said years ago, she did the same thing and got a busy signal. So something
Yeah,
about
she
the
did say
connection
she
to
had
the
not-
neighborhood or our phone system that they get a busy signal.
Yeah, I would say I would have, they,
Phone carrier.
yeah, that would be whoever,
So she's actually investigating a little further on why all this happened.
Mhm.
Let's face it, landlines are not landlines anymore, they're all.
Yeah.
There's no such
She says it's been that way for years. Like she said, she called for a neighbor a few years back the same way.
Yeah.
But,
They're not real tech savvy, the family. I mean, he joined the Facebook page today.
marked it.
Yeah.
You know that he worked on computers.
Yeah,
had
he- well, he
business
does,
in
but-
computers.
Well, I shouldn't say tech savvy. I should
I was thinking the
say.
same
They're not
thing.
social.
Yeah, tech savvy's not the word. I know he worked on
Okay.
computers.
All right,
but
I'm
it's
sorry.
They're not on social media
Okay.
or anything like that. It's basically, he has email. That's about.
But
as
she said
social
she
as it
spent
is.
70 days with him in the hospital pretty much the whole time.
Hmm.
Thank you, Mark. Yeah, Mark. I had Mark on my mind, and I thought I'd just call him Mark. Newsletter information. Obviously, the changes to the waste collection.
Yeah, he's gonna write me up a nice little beauty on that. Yes. And get me some other stuff that I could publish along the way to educate everybody.
Yeah, it's gonna be real important. And Jim knows this, but it's gonna be really important that we stress that all yard waste, unless it's the bigger limbs that are 4 feet long, all yard waste either needs to be in paper bags
Or a 30-gallon.
or a 30-gallon container, and we do not take dirt.
We don't take what?
Dirt,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, dirt, yeah.
Hey, Mark, let me ask you a question. When you do this, the newsletter, is it possible to do a separate page with everything that's gonna change and attach it to the newsletter with the Lease Pro contract?
Or just do one page, have one page, cut it down to one page, and one full page.
Yeah, something like that. So people even do it in red, so maybe people will pay attention to what they're looking at instead of just tossing it in the hop.
I think we could make an insert in there. I mean, it's gonna
Sure.
cost 1,000 times whatever. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we can make an
It's like
insert.
80 some bucks.
As soon as you go to 2-color, your printing price really
You're
goes
talking
up.
color paper, right?
No, I'm talking color ink.
Coloring.
Yeah,
Um,
but you were talking,
Coloring.
oh, okay, I just.
I mean, the thing
I
is-
thought you were talking like red paper with.
If we don't get enough information out there, so maybe 50% of the people that live here are gonna go, oh, yeah, here it is. Her phone's gonna ring off the hook in this office.
Well, I think we're
I think it'll
also,
happen anyways, because I don't think people pay attention to it.
but I do
Oh,
think it
yeah,
would
so
be
maybe
worth
it's there.
looking at some,
On the trash bag.
and you know I'm not a sign proponent.
Well, that's what I
but,
mentioned before.
put some signs that are, bulk waste must be in paper bags or something and us put them like Faith Church Road and,
But the corners of Craft on both sides, corner
Coming in the
Conifer on both
back.
sides. Right here on Lake Park Road, on either end of the
Island.
island here.
something that's
Put a couple
gonna,
even in the parking lot where people pull in here, so they, oh, look at that.
even if, and I'm not a sign proponent at all.
Yeah, I was
but
like, I can't believe you're saying that over there.
I think we're gonna
On board.
have to, between social media, the newsletter, we're really gonna have to work to get it out there.
I think no
because-
matter how much you get out there, people are still gonna
Oh,
ask,
yeah.
still do the day.
I just
so
feel
it's
people
like-
asking now, like, when's won't pick up?
Oh, yeah, I know. We can't fix lessons.
People are
What
going
did you
nuts
decide on
when
the
they're-
calendar? Are you doing a calendar?
I want to put together like that calendar, yes. To give everyone.
Good.
You think is, recycle gonna be that first week of July? Or the second week? Did they care? I don't, that maybe they care about this. I just,
Hasn't been decided, but I'm.
It'd be good to know, I mean,
First week.
I think that's
I'm gonna have to know when to put it
That's the
out.
week of, that's also the week.
4th of July, so it'll be
Do
on
we have
Friday.
we don't have the right start date yet. I know.
No, it'll be as of July 1,
That's
so
July
it
1,
will start.
right, so I say July 7th would be the first recycle.
I'm just gonna rely on Mark getting it right on the Facebook page.
I'll talk with them.
I'll be on first.
Get that all worked out.
July 1st is on a Thursday.
They're
Is
also
it?
gonna- yeah.
No,
No, July 4th is, I believe. is
July 4th on Thursday.
Is on Thursday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're picking up July 5th.
so they'll pick up on Friday.
Right.
No,
Friday.
Friday.
The first trash pickup, the new rules go into effect.
Yes.
July.
July, so
Yeah,
as
yeah.
of July 1.
But
Anything after July.
Jim's gotta see if the first week's the week they do recycling.
It should be, because
It should
they'll pick up the last and then they'll,
Right.
should start first contract. I would think that makes sense to
You
me.
never know.
Well, we'll make that happen. We'll figure it out.
anything else for the newsletter?
It may be from a newsletter standpoint that maybe instead of a sheet, maybe the easiest way to get those. Are you delivering magnets, Jim, or are you? how are
Yes,
you
I
gonna
gotta
do
deliver
this?
them. I want to put them in. I want to deliver.
Okay, that's fine. Never mind. I was gonna say maybe you needed to drop one in each newsletter, but if Jim's hand delivering, then scratch that. We do need to put something in about, please make sure that if your vehicle is leaking oil, no leaking vehicles should be parked on the streets.
Rumor has it, somebody mentioned this to me today, that this is by the condos.
Okay,
They had their oil changed and he started it up and there was this loud noise and apparently the bottom of the oil pan underneath the thing
Fell out.
fell out and there's oil all over the place.
do we happen to
That's the
know who
front
that
row.
individual is?
Huh?
Do we happen to know who he is?
Yeah, I can find out who it is. I know who told me about it. She
Okay.
knows who it is, yeah.
Let's figure that out because he'll need to pay to have that stain addressed.
Gotcha, okay.
Fishing permits, again, you'll have some 4th of July information
Yes.
for him,
Or-
4th of July stuff.
Also, not dumping in the woods.
Yes, no,
Hey,
dump.
kids, stop throwing rocks in the ponds. This riffraff is not gonna be
Do
thrown in the
not
ponds.
remove, riprap is not for throwing into the pond.
Happens up there, in the pond by your house the other day. Kids right up throwing in the ponds.
Yeah.
And then you can see where it was missing.
If you get down by Veterans Pond, look at the, I've been thinking about it, you just said, look at that wood line that Lucas cleaned up.
I haven't seen it yet.
It's very nice looking back through there. You were gonna write everybody over there on that side.
I've had 4 people on that side to call me and tell me how nice that looks.
It does, look good. They need to knock done,
Yes,
right?
That White House over there, that guy takes his stuff over there too. The house on this side. The nicest yard in the neighborhood.
I'm going, wait a minute, what White House? I'm thinking of the one on the other side, and I'm going, what?
He puts his in the storm drains.
Yeah, I know
I
better.
was thinking the White House across the street, too.
No, I was talking about one of the nice grass down there. It did have a spot in the front yard. I know he was thinking that.
Still got it. It's killing me. Anything else? Get you something. Council comments.
Sure, happy Father's Day to all the fathers It's coming up this week. And, yeah, and again, thanks for everything everybody did on the contract, Jim, Cherie, and also on the budget. I mean, it's a lot of work that people can't see that goes into that. Yeah, appreciate what everybody's doing.
Bruce?
Everything was good. Just don't want anybody to blame Joe for us getting out early tonight.
He actually mentioned that. He said, make sure that meeting goes long, so they don't think I'm the reason.
He was talking to me about it today, too.
Mark?
Basically, Steve stole my script right out of my mouth, so I agree with him. Good job,
Jim?
Jim. Agree.
Yes, echo what Steve said. I just want to thank Sharice for the time she gave me to go through that contract with all the history that she had. And we spoke. Thanks everyone for reviewing and providing comments to the contract. Appreciate everything. Thank you.
Sure.
Happy Father's Day to all fathers.
Yes, I do want to mention to you guys, for the first time ever, the school government is offering a virtual new clerk institute. And they've never done one of these before, but they are offering it on Wednesday, July the 10th. And it's an all-day thing, it's a Wednesday. And I would like, it's $240, but it's totally online. And I think it would be the best money we could spend and the least amount of money we'd have to spend to send Sarah to school that day. And what she would do is come in here, use my laptop and take the class. It runs, like I said, from 8:45 to 5 o'clock, basically, with an hour for lunch and 2 little breaks. But it gives you the laws that affect the clerk and orientation into what is expected of clerks, do's and don'ts, and the role of the clerk, laws that affect the clerks, how to help governing boards do their work better, and then the ins and outs of minutes and agendas. So if that's all right with you, out of the, it'll be the new budget, but there will be money in office, or training, sorry, in training for us to spend to do that,
I
if
think
that's
it's will work,
okay.
because I think if she does it, she might realize she wants to do this job or not, right, in the future.
Yeah.
The question I have is she aware that she'd have to be here a whole day?
Yes, we've already
I know
had
she
that
has things
discussion.
Come up.
Yeah, no, we've had that discussion.
So I think it's probably, like you said, well worth the 240 you can spend.
She's gonna be available all day for it, so do it.
I think everybody is well, and there's a lot of, I look at this agenda, and I told you Monday, I got all this stuff out late. We're waiting on pricing and trying to determine what are the best routes to recommend to do. And it's just a lot of stuff going on that I don't think it's gonna go to the wayside, and we've got plenty to do that keeping down on us. So thank you all for the amount of time you put in and what you do. I had a text from a citizen today who had asked for something back in May, and again in May, something, it's an aesthetics thing. And I responded, I promise you, we're working on it. You know, there are a lot of things that go into this, and we all work full-time jobs. What's that, Mark? No, it's that Bruce. But I promised that we try, you know, and she replied, said, I hope you didn't think I was upset. You know, I appreciate, she said, I wish you would tell. I said, we meet tonight, and we're gonna approve some things that I think will help what you're talking about. And so she said, well, would you please tell everybody that I appreciate the elected officials and what you do, and I realize you put in a lot of time, so it's recognized from the community as well, so I thank you, and they do too. Staff, thank you, Sheree and Cheryl, Sarah, and Ken's work. He was sick as a dog Sunday, sending stuff over for the real estate contract and the waste contract, and said he didn't think there's any way he could be here, and we told him, we don't want you here and spreading the germs. So I appreciate everything that all you guys and gals do. With that, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
You took Mark.
No, my thunder.
Mark, second it?
I'll second it.
Signify by saying aye.
You're ready for that one, aren't you?
Motion carries.
Yeah,